Chapter 68 Poisoned. As for the other techniques, Han Li held high expectations for the Heaven's Eye technique after witnessing the terrifying power that the seemingly simple fireball technique contained. After executing it, however, Han Li understood that this magic technique was simply a small transfer of energy into one's eyes. There was hardly any difficulty worth mentioning, making it appear as if it were easy to master. However, the Heaven's Eye technique seemed easy to master because its difficulty was directly proportional to the strength of its target. It grew increasingly more difficult to master it as the target's strength increased. Its functions focused primarily on checking the strength and purity of the magic power belonging to cultivators, making it a useful support-type magic technique. At first, Han Li was exhilarated and used the Heaven's Eye technique on both of his eyes. He then used his eyes, now filled with magic power, to inspect his own body's condition. Through his enhanced perception, he saw a dim layer of white light permeating his body. The closer he got to his dantian, the more dense the white light became. The white light was his magic power. When Han Li saw this, he couldn't help but extend a hand to touch the white light. However, he felt nothing at all. He noticed that magic power was similar to air, both were incorporeal and without form, and only through the use of the Heaven's Eye technique could he hope to inspect it. But after several consecutive inspections, Han Li completely lost all interest in the Heaven's Eye technique. His loss of interest was due to the fact that he was all alone in the entire Seven Mystery sect. Who could he use the Heaven's Eye technique on? He couldn't possibly spend the whole day narcissistically examining himself. Therefore, aside from intensifying his training of the fireball technique, which he hoped to be able to familiarize himself with in order to use it during actual combat, Han Li turned his attention to other types of magic technique that he had yet to learn. He began practicing other magic techniques slowly and in a repetitive manner, hoping for more breakthroughs. Slightly regaining a portion of his body's energy, Han Li could only sigh after thinking about the difficulty of training in other magic techniques. The frequency of his complaints, however, decreased significantly over time as he continued practicing the techniques. Dong, dong, the bell near the valley entrance was sounded, its chime spreading into the valley. Han Li wrinkled his eyebrows. He didn't know why, but recently, the amount of people who came for help had suddenly increased. Furthermore, a majority of them had broken hands, broken arms, knife wounds, projectile wounds, and other similar external injuries. He did not dare to neglect his patients because aiding a person is like aiding in putting out a fire one. He collected himself and grabbed his medical bag. After exiting his house, Han Li made a beeline for the valley entrance. Outside the valley forest entrance early in the morning, Han Li saw a high-ranking disciple wearing embroidered clothing. The disciple anxiously paced to and fro near the big bell like an ant on a hot pan. Upon seeing Han Li, he immediately hurried towards him. "Dr. Han, please follow me. My master has been poisoned and is on the verge of death. I respectfully ask if you would take a look to see if you can remove the poison from his body." As this person approached, Han Li realized that the disciple had a familiar face. Having seen him a few times, he realized that the man was Elder Li's most favored disciple, Ma Rong, who had previously come to visit Han Li several times on behalf of his master, Elder Li. Therefore, Ma Rong could almost be considered an acquaintance. "Poisoned?" Han Li asked while immediately walking down the road. As they hurried along, Han Li asking darkly about the details behind Elder Li's misfortune. Han Li was aware that there were some poison that even he himself had no experience with. "Yes, my master got into a fight with a member of the feral wolf gang while traveling down the mountains to take care of some business. In the end, he was not careful and suffered an attack from a dark green seed-looking item. At first, my master was not overly worried and even retaliated by killing his opponent. Who knew that the poison would suddenly take effect on the way back up the mountain, causing him to fall unconscious? Have you tried to seek the aid of other doctors?" "Of course we did. If it was any ordinary poison, then I would not have come to trouble Dr. Han. Those quack doctors, Other than knowing that my master suffered from a rare poison, knew nothing else, they did not even dare to prescribe a medicine. Ma Rong spoke with an extremely dissatisfied face. As Han Li listened, his facial expression did not change. As he hurriedly followed Ma Rong down the path, the only noise he made was N. Soon, however, doubt arose in his heart. Truthfully, he was not extremely well versed in curing poisons. If it was an internal or external injury, he could depend on several types of medicinal herbs. If he had to treat some rare deadly poison, however, he was not sure that he would be able to provide a solution to the problem. Even though he had the pure spirit powder, an antidote that could cure hundreds of poisons, the world contained an innumerable amount of poisons. Who knew whether the pure spirit power could cure the specific poison that was harming Elder Li? The few local doctors were not completely useless in the healing and dispelling poisons, otherwise, they would have been kicked off the mountain by the elders of the Seven Mystery Sect. After all, the sect could not afford to raise a group of incompetent medical disciples who were unable to heal even the smallest of injuries. However, they did not dare to even prescribe a simple prescription, showing that this poison was a troublesome problem that they have never encountered before. Han Li could only survive by having many hidden cards and being able to adapt himself to any situation. Even if he was unable to save Elder Li, it wasn't likely that it would lower his own reputation. After all, there was no medicinal god that could cure every sickness. As Han Li was carefully refining his plan, Ma Rong practically forced Han Li to run lightly while grasping the sleeves of his garment. In this manner, the two hurried towards Elder Li's residence. Seeing him so energetic, Han Li knew that their master-to-disciple relationship was pretty deep. Han Li felt slightly sorrowful because he thought back to his relationship with Dr. Mo. Although they were master and disciples in name, their actual relationship was similar to two enemies. If only their relationship had been as harmonious as the one between Ma Rong and his master. In the depths of his heart, Han Li had always held a form of respect towards Dr. Mo. After all, his medicinal knowledge and eternal spring arts had been imparted to him by the deceased doctor. But sadly, things were not meant to be. The heavens dictated that the two would be unable to live in the same world, forcing them fight an intensive battle in which Dr. Mo died accidentally by Han Li's own hands. Thinking about his past memories, Han Li couldn't help but sigh. Afterwards, Ma Rong brought him to Elder Li's place. One he calls it his own doghouse.